iCommunity shines a light on the wide array of community news, arts and culture and prolific charity efforts within the Asian Diaspora Networks. It's where the global Indian impact on the ground is celebrated. Log on at iglobalnews.com.
Hello, and a very warm welcome to today's session of the Living Bridge Conversations, the live series. This is brought to you by iGlobal, your premier multimedia hub for and about global Indians. My name is Aditi Khanna, and I'll be your host for today. And I'm joined by Anjan Chatterjee, a celebrated chef and restaurateur who founded specialty restaurants nearly 30 years ago now. He now has over 100 popular restaurants dotted across India and overseas. And the latest addition to his success story, of course, is Chowrangi, which opened in London at Old Quebec Street near Marmalade just this month. And I think we can welcome Anjan. Hi, Anjan.
Hi.
Namaskar. Thank you so much for joining us, and it's such a pleasure to have you with us. Before we dive right into with lots of questions, Anjan, I just want to remind our viewers that this is about them as well. They may have questions and comments for you, so please keep dropping them in that live box below, and we'll pick them up as we go along.
Yeah.
So now, straight to the interview, Anjan. I have to, of course, start with Chowrangi. Which I've been lucky enough to actually visit. And it's amazing, if I can say so, very unbiased, I have to say. It does feel like stepping into Calcutta in the heart of London. I mean, the decor, the ambience, and I've grown up in Calcutta, so you know that it really brought back memories for me. Would you say that was your vision when you kind of thought of this idea?
See, there is a background to the fact that one got into a restauranting business because one loved food. As a Bengali, we live to eat, not eat to live. So that comes in the DNA of particularly in a Bengali, well, of course, lots of Indians do that. But the kind of food lovers we have in Calcutta, I don't find them in many other parts, no offense meant, of India. Everybody has the kind of choices they have. So I, like everybody else, I believe that the food of Calcutta, which I belong to, is the best in the world. Anybody would say their own food is the best. But there was a challenge because in India, I'll just take a step back to when we started the first restaurant called Only Fish, which is not Calcutta. So it was the Bengali food which we actually worked on. But there was no mind space in the people's mind. The consumer never knew what the hell is a Bengali food all about. And they knew about Punjabi, Mughlai, any other food. And some of it is South Indian, which is like iconic fast food, which is in the form of dosa, idli, etc. So it was a big journey. 1991, we started this place. Eventually, we changed the name, repositioned it as Calcutta. And the Calcutta's cuisine. Why Calcutta? Because the flavors of Calcutta's food are unique. The history of Calcutta is unique. This 300-year plus history of the flavors and influences which have come together as a confluence of culture from British, Mughlai, Armenians, East Indians, some of them coming in from a level of, these Shirazuddaulas of the life, then Wajid Ali Shah. So all of them have left an impact on the flavors of Calcutta. Of course, the Royal Bengal, cuisine in the form of the Malai curries of the world or the Pasha Mangsha. So I think that it's an offering which is very rare. And I believed, I've seen my father actually having Americans coming over home when he was a research scientist to serve this kind of food. So there was a kind of a conviction. When I joined the catering school, then there was not too much happening around the, Bengali food. So I took that as a challenge. And of course, we have many more restaurants, flagship being mainland China. And we do, that's flagship. But then Calcutta was my kind of a, passion and a drive that, yes, this food will come. One day people will recognize. Fortunately, we've done that job in India. We have around 11 of them in all cities of India. Now, 25 years ago, I thought of this idea coming into the city of London when my children started studying here. And I saw that opportunity coming in and I had the conviction. But, things happen when they have to happen. So, I mean, it's been a, you know, dream come true and story and a journey and just begun. People are loving the food, but it's a new pitch, as I said, and we are playing in Lords, not in Wankhede. So we have to ensure that things go well in the future. But it's just the beginning. Fingers crossed. I think we will be able to create an impact.
No, definitely. I mean, I guess as you said, you're playing at Lords and you have to up your game. But having tried out some of your game, I think it's pretty much it's there. It's pitching at the right level. But I just wanted to try and decode a little bit about the ambience, Anjan, as well, and also for viewers who are not very familiar with Chowrangi, as in the neighborhood in Calcutta where the name comes from, and also the little architectural gems that you've managed to recreate here in London, in the heart of London. How did you go about that? I mean, there's a kind of a sense of the old Bengal club there. So if you can tell us a little bit about that.
You see, we have an architect on board called Steve. The gentleman is very mature LSM design, and he's one person who has designed many Indian restaurants like Bombay Brasserie, Quailon, recently a Farzi, and many more. When I met him through another common friend of mine, and I told him about what it is going to be, the brief, the background, and he said, "Fine, I'll go online and find out what it is all about." But I was absolutely insistent on the fact that he has to fly down to Calcutta, stay in a Bengal club, stay in a Tolly club, and stay and go through the North Calcutta, the gullies of North Calcutta, go to the coffee house, go to the Presidency College. So, sorry, I made him stay there for 10 nights and took him along in a vehicle to, and then shifted him from club to club. He was irritated, by the way. And fortunately, when he went to the Calcutta club, and he was saying, "This is my last stop. I'm not going to stand. I'm going to leave if you do that." So, to that extent, but he thanks me for that. He's a wonderful architect, and he picked up everything to the extent that the College Street famous coffee house, which is now slightly dilapidated, but then we picked up those fans. I don't know if you recall that there are tall fans which
Yeah.
are there. So it's actually a co-creation of the fact that we wanted to transport you to a Calcutta, and Calcutta is very close to the kind of minimalism that British have given it. If you see over a period of time, all the structures have been very Gothic and have an old world charm. So we've just combined everything to that, the cane furniture that you see. So everything came in from the experience of actual Calcutta. So it was worthwhile that we flew him down.
No, definitely. I mean, and I think he's picked up some real gems from
Yes.
like kind of the shutters and the fans, as you mentioned. But you told us a little bit about what sets Calcutta cuisine apart from even wider Bengal. I mean, forget all of India. So just going a little bit deeper into that, Anjan, a little bit of your favorites that have found their way into the menu here in Chowrangi, and also just talk us through some of your general favorites, which people might find at O Calcutta, for instance.
Uh, as you understand that since you've been in Calcutta, you said that. So there are certain classics which you cannot question. It's like the kosher mangshos of the world, the malai curries of the world. But O Calcutta, the cuisine which is brought into Chowrangi, which actually got the resonance with certain kinds of things which were actually recreated by us. For example, there is something called kakra chingdi bhapa. It's a combination of crab and prawns minced and put together in a parcel with dash of uh, mustard and lots of green chili and steamed, 100% steamed. So that's an innovation of ours, and that's a where in London we put it with blue swimmer crab because you get the best produce here, and that's something which is very unique to Chowrangi. Then we have the lamb chop, which is a pachforon lamb chop. This is a five spice of Bengal. So pachforon lamb chop in that. Then we go into Malai curry, of course, is a classic. Then you come to a very interesting thing, which may not be necessarily, recognized over every restaurant, which is a typical Calcutta restaurant. But we do a hing aloo dum. It's a very humble aloo dum, but
Mhm.
it's made hing and then jeera. It's a very nice, very homely aloo dum. Then the star in vegetarian is my favorite has been that there's an aubergine. I don't know if you had the aubergine. It
I
was basic.
yes.
It's made by Kashundi. It's a
Mhm.
combination of mango, like a murabba, and mustard coming together. So it's a very mild, good, staple going as sides. With and then of course the Calcutta biryani and the Calcutta naan. A lot of people have gone and said there's a gentleman called Rahul Munjal who's related to the Munjal family. He came in, and then next time when he met me, he said, "You know what is the best dish besides everything? The naan. I've never had naan like that." So that's a big compliment. So because again, it's a Calcutta naan which is fluffy, which has got khameer, which is overnight soaked, and it's like a real Baghdadi naan. So I mean, so we've worked very hard. I mean, I'm not want to say that we are the only one who work hard, but we've been very passionate about Gondhoraj March. We've not introduced it as yet. Then
Mhm.
we've got the hilsa. I mean, how can you? I mean, there's nobody who can give you a boneless hilsa, right? And we
Yeah.
are flying it in from either Calcutta or Bangladesh, and it's boneless in form. And again, it's got pathuri, steamed. So I personally feel that all of these are very close to my heart. But as we go in, frankly speaking, we don't have enough space and number of people who can actually deliver this kind of food. For example, everybody's been talking about where is the luchi. All the
Mhm.
Bengalis have been saying, but then we
Yeah,
don't have.
including me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So now
Yeah.
lots of people have been asking, but we're sure that over a period of time we will get the luchi on, because London is at the moment not getting manpower enough to actually run any restaurant. That's the reason we deferred it twice. We were to
Mhm.
open in September, and then it kept on getting. But anyway, we are getting there. It's better to do less number of items and get them, to sample that. And the next menu, Diwali, we are adding certain things coming forward. So it's just the beginning.
Great. Well, you heard it here. Diwali, there's some special offerings coming up. So, but Anjan, before we go a little further, I did want to pick your brains about one thing, which is Calcutta or Kolkata. Now, as I said, I've grown up in Calcutta. I grew up in Calcutta and not Kolkata, so I still call it Calcutta. And I know a lot of my friends who do as well. What about you? And do you feel it's even a debate worth having? We should just call it what connects with us, right?
See, very honestly, I've grown up in Calcutta. I am not grown up in Kolkata, because to me, Calcutta is the city which has given us what we have historically. The whole classic Calcutta is Calcutta. So nobody would even question us saying that why not Kolkata. No offense meant. There have been political parties who have asked us why not Kolkata. I said, I'm sorry. It's something which is Calcutta, and I want to have the history of Calcutta, the journey where we have a smoked hilsa or a club cuisine. So I will call it Calcutta, and I think that these are sorry to say that, like a Bombay. I still call it a Bombay, and not Mumbai. So very debatable that everybody wants to put some regional flavor to the whole thing and try and change. Supposing London becomes something else tomorrow, London stays London. In your mindset, it doesn't. So to me, but I can say this to you, whether it's Calcutta or it is Chowrangi, it is for the global Bengalis, for the global Indians. It was never done to make only appease the local Bengalis of Calcutta. No offense meant, they're the greatest possible foodies, but they know this food. They understand. They've given us a great reception. But people told me that why wouldn't you serve it in a like in a bronze thali with some kele ka patta and mitti ki thali? I said, boss, no, nobody globally eats like this at
Mhm.
home. They all, they have crockery, cutlery, everything happening. So we, right in the beginning, we've taken that path. So that's one of the reasons that I think we got the kind of reception we've had within India and even here. So we've been contemporary, basic, minimalistic. Most important is that I personally have propagated and believed that food has to be honest. You can't have, you know, a kashundi mayo being served. I can't have a mayo being served with the kashundi. I'm sorry. When I have mayonnaise, I go to an American restaurant. When I have a cocktail sauce, I'll go and have that. But here, we have not ever done any fusion leading to confusion. It's all pure Calcutta raw spices, ingredients which we are even flying down from there. And I think that that's one of the reasons people are finding the differentiation in food, because ingredients alag hue, then only you will get the taste coming in. Now here, before we get to the next one, I wanted to tell you right in the beginning, it just I missed it. One of the dearest friends of mine, who again is a big fan of Kolkata and O Calcutta, and he's Aditya Ghosh, very, very dear friend of mine. So we were chatting over a drink in my son's restaurant, and he said, "Hey, what's happening next?" So I said that London is happening next. So he said, "Listen, I'm going to be a part of that." So he is co-founded this with me, and you've not met him. Unfortunately, we can't have him on this forum at this point of time. But then he's a foodie beyond anybody's comprehension. And he would have half a kilo of kosha mangsho and 19 luchis or a malai curry, which is a jumbo prawn. I'm sure he's listening to me somewhere.
Yeah.
So that's a kind of combination of bonk and, I mean, these are the two bonks, like two tigers actually coming across to do their own. And he's been a professional of the highest order. Indigo is founded by him, and many more. He's doing another airline, and he's been a professional and himself a startup expert. So that apart. So this is what I'm saying. So the honest food, people are appreciating, people are talking about every small, and they're taking note of that. The best part is that people are appreciating, they're taking note of the fact that we've given a kashundi kachumbar. Now, I've not put some honey in that. I've just put kashundi with kachumbar, the pure one. And people are loving it, because I think my conviction was, if people can have wasabi with a sushi, there's no reason why kashundi will not be taken. So we've not actually diluted anything to say that, no, this is for the Brit palate and this and that. People are actually enjoying the spice levels, which are not real spicy and, fiery. But it's been, fingers crossed. I mean, as I say, that this is just the beginning. I mean, we've not even crossed the first innings as yet.
No, but it's a great first innings, and I have to just say I have had the privilege of meeting Aditya as well,
Okay.
and in fact, iGlobal has covered Chowrangi in a Big Bite series, and we've actually covered both of you, like, so the pictures of both you
Oh,
co-founders
wonderful.
of this amazing restaurant. So that's there for anyone who needs to catch up, and a big shout out to Aditya as well. I hope he's watching this, or he can watch it back, I'm sure.
I'm sure he's watching it.
Yeah, but I hope to have you guys back together at some point, maybe. But yeah,
Definitely.
so I think in this first half, my final question, Anjan, would be on the fact that we opened around Durga Puja, obviously an auspicious time, and it's not been an easy journey, in the sense the pandemic kind of delayed your plans. I know you had plans of actually in 2020s, which was then moved to 2021. But how do you feel about it now at this stage? You said, as you said, fingers crossed, it's going well. But what has been kind of, some of the heartwarming feedback that you've had from people?
I don't want to be sounding pompous or boastful about this, but I mean, last night there was chairman of a bank, Habib Bank, and an elderly gentleman with his whole family, Muslim, and they just made me sit down, and it was just short of tears in his eyes to say that, Miss, man, I've never had food, this biryanis, what is this? Then I told him Wajid Ali Shah, the potato, then the eggs coming in, all that I said to him. And he said that I've never had a meal better than this in my lifetime. Now, there are many of them. And of course, predictably, Bengalis would love it. But this gentleman came in all the way from Dubai, Habib Bank, based out of, there. And a friend of mine called Nadeem actually recommended him. So people, see, the challenge is not just to get the Indians and Bengalis. Of course, they are most welcome and they love their food, they'll come. The challenge for us is to get locals. I'm talking about Britishers. I'm talking about Europeans, which we are very confident of the fact that by the day, by the hour, the percentage of the mix is growing. It's gone to almost 38%, and people have not known enough about us. Slowly, as the Oxford Street comes in and people are coming over and trying to understand, the PR is talking about what we are all about. There is enough Instagram, social media work which we are doing. So slowly, and we are not in a hurry. We are an institution. We believe that everything, it's like slow cooking. jaldi ka kaam shaitan ka. So you can't just do some kind of, you know,
Yeah.
mane, tadka biryani we don't want to do. We want to really do a dum biryani. So it'll take a little while, but then the kind of feedback that we are getting is overwhelming. And I think that if we continue to do that and have consistency of this kind, as we speak, there was a trial going on of a Taj chef who's flown in from India for a trial. So we just finished. So we are bolstering our support in the back of the house. And the idea is not, Aditi, to do just one restaurant. Inshallah, God willing, we are here to do many more restaurants and many more formats. So the idea is to once we get one restaurant settled down, and I'm sure even Aditya and myself have planned, and in fact, there are lots of investors who are talking. We are not interested in, see, anybody can become a money bag and give, but let's get our act together. Let's get things settled down. And I think that, but till now, as you rightly asked the question, overwhelming. I mean, I really can't express.
Oh, that sounds lovely, and I can imagine why he must have felt that, because food has memory, and
Yeah.
when you have a food that reminds you of certain things, it just touches your heart. So, at this point, Anjan, if let's take a quick break. We'll be back right after this.
Thank you.
iGlobal Radio is the brand new hub of podcasts for and about global Indians. News, views, interviews, wellness, money matters, and much, much more. Tune in to iGlobal Radio at iglobalnews.com.
And we're back. So before we get back to our questions with Anjan, just a quick word on these iGlobal Living Bridge conversations. The idea is to catch up with guests like Anjan today for some fun food discussions, recipes, take some musical journeys, have some heartwarming anecdotes, fitness routines, festive fashion, and many more such things. So do stay tuned at iGlobal with our social media channels. We'll keep you updated there on the next ones that are coming up. And the idea is to celebrate people who embody the British Indian Living Bridge Connect. And as Anjan mentioned, the idea of global Indians. And so this is all about global Indians and celebrating their journeys. And of course, you can play back any of the sessions on our Facebook and YouTube, including this one. And a quick reminder again, viewers, if you have any questions or thoughts for Anjan, do keep them coming in the comment box. We will take them up towards the end of the session. But now back to our conversation, Anjan.
Yeah.
I think it may be time to take a little trip down memory lane to your very first restaurant, which you mentioned earlier, which was Only Fish in Mumbai. And so, if you could take us through that journey a little bit, I mean, from then on to Calcutta and mainland China, and then now the kind of the London dream. How has that process been for you?
Uh, I think you've gone through my kind of background I have. I mean, I'm a graduate, I'm a family of scientists, only black sheep who moved out and did hotel management after graduation. And those were the days when catering school was a no in India. Nobody would allow you. You would eventually be a. My father said that, hey, listen, I mean, he was a postdoctorate. So he said that, are you sure when you grow up, would you be a waiter or would you be what? I mean, cook? I mean, I'm not understanding. Can we introduce you in the social circles? That's the kind of psychology people had. But anyway, I went against the stream. But because I had a little bit of passion for food, I used to assist my mother sometimes, make some rotis in the kitchen for her. So this happened, and then, many a times people think that and say that, I plan to be a restaurateur. I had already dreamt of one, nothing of this kind. So the career started with the Taj Group, worked there for a couple of years, quit, started working with a publication house. I became the regional head of theirs called Anand Bazar Patrika, which is one of the best in the East. I was based out of Bombay, worked for 3.5 years. During that time, I did a marketing course and completely shifted out of food and beverage and did my advertising agency. So the entrepreneurial first step was actually done through advertising. And I helped build some brands. You don't build brands because the manufacturers build the brands. And as advertising marketing consultants, we did and whatever it is, 4 or 5 of them. Agency continues. That's another. Actually, my life is a double life, like Alec Padamsi. I mean, of course, he was a legend, theater and advertising. So food and advertising. So from there, I said that, okay, let's try. It was very near to the restaurant. The Only Fish was just walking distance, 3 minutes. My wife, Meenu, and myself, we said, I mean, let's try and do something which is, Bengali food. So we named it Bongo first, Bongo. So from there, sorry, from there we said, no, let's take, I mean, a name which sounded very good, like Only Fish. I mean, much later came Sexy Fish, mind you. So we started that in 1991. It went until 1.5 years. And then I repositioned it because I thought it was slightly non-vegetarian in a city or a country which is 50% vegetarian. You can't have a name and get away with it. In London, you can, but not there. So we changed it and we made it a city-centric O Calcutta. And from then, things happened. While we were doing O Calcutta, then we moved to the standalone Chinese revolution, which had never happened because 5 stars would serve great Chinese, but then standalones were more of a Manchurian and, kind of a chili sauce and chili soy kind of thing. So very Chindian kind of food. Now, I don't say that we don't make tasty food. We make it spicier. Definitely, yes, but mainland China actually resonated with people because we had, food from all the 4 districts of China. It is from Canton to Shanghainese. Then we have the Beijing. We, of course, had the real Sichuan food also, real Sichuan, when you had Sichuan pepper. The red chili paste, which was there predictably, or the Manchurian is something we did not touch. We brought great dim sums on the table. We had duck, actual duck being cut in the standalone restaurant and served, the duck rolls. So all this started, the journey coming in from Chinese to parallelly the O Calcutta started growing. But then obviously, when we did our public issue, it was mainland China, which was a flagship, and came O Calcutta. Now, from then to now, I have always been dreaming. As I told you, my daughter was in Goldsmith and son was later on, he was in Kingston. So I would come to London, and I have lots of friends of mine, Chef Shriram, JKS, Karam Sethi, etc. So I would just chat with them, and they all believe that, yes, you have a place for O Calcutta because they love O Calcutta. They always love, whenever they will go to India, they will have food from O Calcutta or call me up, things like that. But then, everything takes the right time. So I had to wait for this opportune time. Then Aditya came on board and things like that. We said, let's shoot. But 2.5 years we've been grounded. 2.5 years. I mean, it's been barrier after barrier after barrier. So I just pray to God that now things will happen in the best possible manner. And there was a question, I think you said that why not O Calcutta, why Chowrangi? Did you ask this question? I mean, is it part of the questionnaire? Yeah, is it?
No, I mean, but yeah, let's
I thought so.
explore
Okay.
that. Yeah.
So I tell you why, because you see, O Calcutta is there, but we wanted to start all over again. How do you actually improve on perfection? Start all over again. So we grounded everything which we learned in O Calcutta. Of course, the flavors, the look, feel, in terms of the consistency was there. Lots of things have been changed in terms of presentation. I don't know if you noticed that brass ethnic wear has been used, which is not there in O Calcutta back home. And many more things have been added. The recipe has been changed. For that matter, we're talking about the aubergine, or we're talking about the one which is, Calcutta. A lot of people say that where is the chaat in Calcutta? But if they have to go to Vardhan market, they have to go to AC market to understand there is a huge cult of Marwadis who are chaat eaters. And there is there is something called Seherwali Marwadis who were a part of the money lending community near, Birbhum and near this area of Shirazuddaulah, and where they actually used to lend money, and they are the ones who settled down. And there's a cuisine called Seherwali cuisine, which has the most eclectic charts. So we just kept one of them, slightly made it in the similar manner that I think lotus stem and shakarkand ki chaat. I don't know if you had the chance to eat that. No?
Yeah, the lotus stem.
Yeah, that's right. So lots of good things have happened, but then we've continued with the authentic and honest spicing, and the balance has been that we are robust. We are not compromising. We're not doing, so in Bengali they call it jhal jhal, so tikha tikha, but definitely balancing, and I'm loving the fact that even Britishers are loving the kind of spice, and they recognize the fact that each dish has a character which is based on the ingredient. It does justice to the meal. So, as I say, I keep on talking about it. I mean, the proof of the pudding is in eating it. You have eaten, but lots of people are yet to come over. And then I invite everyone to come over. And I'm going to be stationed here till the time things settle down. So
Oh,
I've told
brilliant.
my family, I'm out. Diwali is here. Even December is here. So I'm camping here. I have to myself be in the kitchen to ensure things go right.
Well, there's a question that just popped up from Subhajit Ghosh. He wants to know when we can have a Chowrangi in India. Are you planning one in? So he wants you to now take Chowrangi back to India. So
Yeah. You see, very interesting. There is one,
yeah.
I mean, of course, Chowrangi is being, there's somebody from Singapore who wants it. But I will tell you very honestly, O Calcutta 2.0 will be Chowrangi. So we've already discussed it internally. Inshallah, if everything goes well, let this settle down. We'll surely look at that opportunity, and we've discussed internally about this.
Mhm. Great. And there are more questions popping in, which we'll come back to for sure towards the end. But while we were on the subject of spices and jhal and everything, Anjan, I was wanting to ask you a little, if you can speak a little bit about, your love of spices and flavors, because I have met some of your family members who did give me a little sneak peek about the fact that you just love cooking and feeding people. Like it's just something you really truly enjoy. So, what do spices and flavors? What do they mean to you?
See, I'm being very. Of course, there's one side of the Chinese food with every. Again, I'm talking about a Calcutta centric thing because Calcutta is the only place which had an organized in the first Chinese colony. So Calcuttans drink Chinese,
Mhm.
right? So I, of course, love Chinese, and that's why I'm mainly in China. But this one, when I come home at 3 a.m. on a Virgin Airlines aircraft and go home, I have posto, I have mache jhol, I have kosha mangsho, I have everything. Now I don't need to do that from London because I eat here. So,
Mhm.
so there is a 100% connect with the soul food which I belong to, where I belong to. So everybody loves their soul food. It's like a rajma chawal for a Punjabi. I mean, very basic, So I think that the spices, what I like about the Bengali garam masala is that it is not the North Indian garam masala. It's only three ingredients, which is cardamom, cinnamon, and you have a bit of cloves. So this combination is a unique one. So you get a note of cardamom coming in, hidden the second layer is cinnamon. So that combo is a unique one, which is only in Calcutta or Bengal. Similarly, the Kashundi mustard. I think Kashundi mustard can take on the English mustard or the French mustard, the Dijon, any day, any time. I think it's a bust. My understanding is, again, I'm saying this being a passionate, Calcutta or a Bengal fan. Kashundi is Kashundi. You can't question it. I'd say these two mustard versus Kashundi, I would live and I could show it to people once they come here more often to make them go through the Kashundi experience, which we are doing. So that's another thing. So the uniqueness again comes in from things like amada. Amada is, an adrak, which is basically ginger, and basically with It's a note of ka note hai. So adrak mein ka note, amada, which we put in the prawn. Then there's something called Mushidabadi Bagan Moshla. That's this mix of five spices, which has got a little bit of dill, which has got a little bit of dhania, which is little bit of your pudina, all put together, very subtle, nice, which is in the prawn. And then you have nizami, and there's another tikka, which is in the form of lal murgi tikka. So that lal murgi tikka is not the typical red tikka, chicken tikka masala, but it's a completely different burnt coconut. That's from one place in Bakura, because Bakura is full of hot spices. From there, we picked up the recipe.
Mhm.
So I think that, I'm not saying that the Indian food otherwise doesn't have any flavors. They all have it. But eventually, we didn't want to make it tomato, onion, gravy with ginger and garlic loaded. And that becomes a uniform base for all Indian food. And you keep on putting potato, you keep on putting something or the other. For example, I spoke about the hing aloo dom. It's got hing, touch of jeera, and that's it. Very little of that, because I strongly believe as a chef and a restaurateur, overspicing kills food. You
Mhm.
need to be there just to balance and leave it together. So, I mean, that's been one of the, propagation both in mainland China or Calcutta for that matter. We just underspice thing and have the first note coming up on the palate, second layer, third layer. So there's a lot of work we have done over a period of time.
Wow, you make it sound like a work of art. Anyways, it sounds so beautiful just even listening about it. But there was a question from Arundhati. I think if we can have that on screen, it's probably a good time to take that up. She's asking, hospitality or advertising were not common choice of profession at that time. How was your experience as a Bengali, not getting into engineering or medicine, but choosing something different? And I think that's coming from a fellow Bengali. So.
Arundhati, you are absolutely right. I did say that I was a black sheep. I am a black sheep in a family which is full of scholars, postdoctorates. I was the first man who ever dreamt of doing a catering and then again digress into advertising. Advertising at least was intellectual in the sense it was cerebral. We had Subhash Ghoshals of the world, we had Alec Padamsi. There was some respect, but definitely not the catering. Everybody called me a waiter. I mean, they said that, "Arey, tumko ladki nahi milegi, shadi nahi hogi," and things like that. So it took me a lot of time to get that over that. And I mean, I think that these are I need things which have happened, but I really fought it out to and my father eventually said, no, 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 तूने पैसा वसूल किया. It's okay, you've done your restaurant, so you've done now I eat in your restaurant, I feel good about it. Before he expired, he said that. So I think that, it's been, I mean, never would I think that a chef would be respected so much. There's master chef, there is so much of activity coming in today, which used to be like, agar aap kisi ko, you had to get a groom who's a chef, is think cook se kya shadi karni hai, that kind of thing. So yes, God has been kind. We fought it out at that point of time. It's been a challenging journey, of course.
No, absolutely. I mean, full marks on just staying with it. And Neelim Saha has a little message for you. He's saying, really enjoying this session. Anjan's passion shining through. Love his thought of not messing with the classics for the sake of creating fusion, which seems to be the in thing these days. I'm absolutely right. I mean, there's nothing wrong with fusion. I'm sure you'll agree, except not just for the sake of fusion. It does, as you said, become confusion sometimes, right?
Yeah, because see, when I want to have, there was a chef, this chef who came in, she's a Sindhi chef. So I told her, listen, you cook everything on a trial, make some koki for me. There's a koki paratha with pyaz they make. And there's some, she wanted to do a kosha mangsho. I said, please, we'll teach you kosha mangsho, you do Sindhi mutton here. So I love that, bee curry, and then, they have a lotus root, bee banta hai, then they have a sai bhaji, so lots of things. So she actually was surprised that I asked her to do a Sindhi. मैंने कहा खाना मैं समझ जाऊंगा, you give me a Sindhi meal, which I don't get in the city of London. But eventually it is important. Supposing I told her to put a Bengali garam masala in that particular Sindhi mutton, which has nothing to do with it, I think that we are mixing characters because, in advertising, we were taught right in the beginning that there's an art funnel, which is the authentic, relevant, and hence talkable. So if you don't have authenticity, you are not relevant. Now, why does London need another Indian restaurant? If you ask me, no. There's so many of them. But London surely needs a regional Indian restaurant with flavors they've never tasted. So you differentiate or you die. I would never put my money. When lots of people have, come and told me, why don't you do a mainland China in a place like Harrow, or you do it in Wembley or X and Y? I said, no, nothing doing. That's on the journey. We can always do that. People wanted to pay us money, franchise money. I said, no, the mission is different. We want to show the better side or a good side of Calcutta's cuisine and regional cuisine. Like Chef Sriram of Quilon, he's done the Kerala cuisine in the best possible manner. It's a Michelin starred restaurant.
Mhm.
Similarly, Karam and Karan, JKS, they've done hoppers. It's so unique, differentiated. I hear that there are more people who are trying to do good things, and I'm also very honored. The imitation is the best form of flattery. So there are people, I mean, I went to a restaurant, not to be mentioned. They did some Bengali dishes, which were, of course, again, fusion of the highest order. So which led to confusion. There was one macher jhol served to me, which is not jhol, which is just a gravy put on a grilled fish.
Oh
And
my
I
God.
didn't understand what's going on that. And then there was a pathuri, which was actually very close to a patrani machi. Now, there is no gully of India, there is no corner of India or Calcutta, Chittoda to College Street to the. We have got a rose lassi, which used to be in College Street when I grew up in Presidency College, and I used to see that happening. Rose lassi and rallies and sharma. We picked up stuff from there. You will get a mango lassi very easily. You'll get many other kinds of lassi. Rose lassi aapko yahan nahi milegi. So rather than using a roux afza, we picked it up from the Edgware Road, rose syrup. Fantastic. The next time you come, you must try it. Small short glass of rose lassi and a Gondoraj lassi, ghol. Gondoraj ghol. Now, the idea is to offer you something new. Yeah, नहीं तो आप क्यों दुकान खोलेंगी? मतलब, I mean, there's no reason of you coming back again and again. Why would you not differentiate? So hence, we were very fundamentally very clear that this is the first restaurant and the cuisine that we'll bring it. And the conviction one has, the fact that I can be sure about these flavors. We did many trials here with the Portman Estate, with the Capco and the Crown before we got the space to do some groundwork. We've done some kind of tasting sessions before the restaurant started. So we are getting there and we are getting a fantastic response. The idea and the challenge would be to ensure that we keep this consistency going and get some more people on board, because London's state of affairs is not very good. So after the Brexit, everybody seems to have gone around. So I mean, now we are flying in people from India. Of course, all the chefs are from Calcutta and Calcutta, but we're flying in people from Calcutta. So, and I am here. I've sacrificed my life saying that I'm going to be here till the time it's on autopilot.
Yeah.
Inshallah.
Well, full speed to that. But Arundhati is just thanking you for your reply. And she's saying Laketown Footbridge was once branded with your face as king of chain restaurants. So, I mean, that's a good little nugget of information which we didn't know about. But I think we're coming towards the end of our discussion, Anjan, and you've very kindly shared bits of it already. But with the festive season coming up, you did say that there's something special planned at Chowrangi for Diwali. So if you can tell us what we can expect, if you can reveal that, and also a little question from us as Indians living abroad. There are things around the festive time that we would like to recreate, and so just any ideas you can give us on, say, maybe how can I make my mishti doi better, for instance.
See, I'll start with the Diwali specific thing. So Bengal culture and Diwali is connected to Kali Puja. Now during Kali Puja, there is wo bakre ki bali dete hai, like Bakrid. So red meat becomes a very big thing, the goat meat. On those days specifically, we have got one contractor, because otherwise we're doing lamb shank and lamb. But that day, those 4 days, we're going to be serving real goat. So all the people who ever had mutton, not the lamb. So we're going to be serving all 4 of them, the carcass, all that has been arranged for. Then after that, during Kali Puja, again, on those 4 days, we're going to be doing luchi. We've got enough manpower those 4 days. So it's going to be kosha mangsho and luchi.
Okay, that's breaking news now. That there'll be luchi served now. Okay, great. Yeah.
And along with that, we are putting in lots of mithais. There are 2 mithai walas we have been collaborating with, and we've given them our recipes, taking raw material from them and trying to make something which is to do with mihidana, shita bhog, and certain things which are about one sandesh we already do. There will be baked rasgulla. There's a rasgulla which is baked rasgulla with Nolan goat. So we are bringing in, because back home we run a large chain of sweet meat stores, shops, which is called Sweet Bengal. And I'm sure many of the people who are listening to me will understand what Sweet Bengal is all about. So that Sweet Bengal we have the expertise. We have some chefs, not cooks, not the karigars, to do that. So they have come, they have tried, and they've balanced it. So the Diwali is going to be a little, it's all about festival of lights, food. These are also, we're going to be doing lots of things which are in and around the Kali Puja and Diwali.
Oh wow, that sounds amazing. So you've heard it here, guys. You know what you're gonna get when you head over to Chowrangi. And Utsav has a question. I'm guessing where that's coming from because I'm guessing that's a veggie asking you about some veggie options that'll be there. But I'm sure that there's enough of a veggie balance in your menu. I think, right?
No, no, there's a question I think which I'm reading, Gujarati and Bengali
Yeah.
fusion. Utsav, I will never do anything which will be shorshe bata dhokla or fafda. But I invite you to our restaurant to come and have the aloo dum, come and have the aubergine, come and have the dal, have the chola dal, muget dal, and the mochar ghonto or the mochar chop, the beetroot vegetable chop. And I promise to you, as a Gujarati, you will know that you have little bit of sweet palate in your food. Bengalis and Gujaratis are the only two people who recognize sweet note in their food. Your dals are also slightly sweet. There's sugar. तो हमारे खाने में भी थोड़ा पड़ता है, बैलेंस होता है. You come here, I will not do any fusion, but you will love the original fare that we serve.
Brilliant. Now that's a promise. Then that's an invitation as well. There's a message coming in from Orpita Ray. It's important to showcase traditional Bengali cuisine as we are the best. Of course, I can't disagree with that. Luchi over puri anytime. Ghol over lassi anytime. Looking forward to visit the place to celebrate Bilete Bangaliana. So.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
So
Thank
that's
you.
one guest coming your way, Anjan, for sure, I'm
Yes,
sure.
of course.
But on that note, I think we have there's another question, I think, from Neelim Saha. Is proper fuchka likely to make it into the menu properly in Shalpata, not plates? I live in Cardiff and look forward to visiting Chowrangi when we are next in London. So, what about fuchka?
You know, so many things to do, so little time, and few people to work on. So we will definitely have a fuchka. We're doing a Calcutta tiffin hour between the 3 o'clock, 2:30 after the lunch hour till 6 o'clock, where you will have Moglai paratha, that's Moglai crisps. You will have the kathi roll, the best kathi roll, I can ever say that. I'm sorry, there are other kathi rolls available, but no offense meant to them. It's a real Nizam ka kathi roll. We will ensure that you get lots of fuchka. We will make sure that you have the Vardhan market, dahi bhalle, the kind of thing, charts which have been produced there with the beet noon. So there will be lots of action and fulkopi shingara, if I may say that. So you can
Okay.
rest assured there's lots of things to come. Abhi to picture baki hai.
अभी तो pictures बाकी है, right? On that note, Anjan, I think we'll take a very short, quick break so that we give some time for comments as well, and we'll be right back.
Terrific. Thank you.
iEntertainment is brought to you by iGlobal for all the latest film and series reviews, story interviews and cinema listings covering Bollywood and beyond to reflect a truly pan-Indian entertainment spectrum. Check out the latest at iglobalnews.com.
Great. And we're back. And I think we're ready to wind up. I'll just check with my team if there are any other kind of questions or comments that might be left over that we haven't addressed. We have a comment from Sangeeta Datta. Great to see you, Aditi. She says, hi, Sangeeta. Hi. We have been taking many friends to Chowrangi almost every week. Look forward to the Luchi soon, and good luck to you and Aditya. Talk of Kati roll and chaat leaves me elated. So I think we can all second that comment from our side as well. Kati roll, chaat, I mean, all these things, they just take you back to your
Nostalgia.
yeah, absolutely. But it's been such a pleasure, Anjan. It's just been such a great discussion. I feel like I can keep talking to you about all these flavors and spices you've been telling us about. But thank you so much for taking time out. I know you have a really busy schedule. You're at Chowrangi right now, trying to kind of get the day's food going. So thank you for taking your time with us, and we just look forward to having another chat, maybe back with you and Aditya at some point as well. But wish you all the best for Chowrangi, and
Thank you.
and I'm sure we'll meet again soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Thank you.
Thank you. So, folks, that's the end of today's show. For more Living Bridge conversations, as I said earlier, you can stay tuned on iglobalnews.com. All the information will be on our social media channels as well. And as I sign off, a quick reminder to cast your votes in the Great British Indian Survey, which we're having, which is on the subject of, is it time for Diwali to be declared a bank holiday in the UK? The responses have been flowing in and they're pretty much going one way, so do have your say there as well. And that's it from me. Goodbye and see you next time. Thank you.